Crazy conspiracy theorist. At this point, I really believe that that's a synonym, or at least a popular euphemism for thinking person with a solid amount of facts who understandably doesn't believe the nonsense that the corporate-owned media and the corporate-owned, or perhaps partnered, shall we say, politicians are trying to push on us. That's why at this point I can't even try to anymore claim that I want to be sane, if that's the definition of crazy. I give up on even trying for sanity. I mean, I know people have said it's a goal, but my attitude at this point is that the world is completely insane, so therefore to be considered sane and normal in it, it's to be completely it's to be for the most part, a completely numbed out shell of a creature that is not capable of any kind of independent thought, or at least is not acting upon said ability for independent thought. It's a brainwashed, brained out, completely numb creature. I'm not even going to call someone that's of that ilk human anymore, because to me, if you really are that dull, if you really are that drummed out, then you're no longer fully human. You've lost the spark, you've lost the individuality. Now, I'm not saying that people can't regain that, but we gotta wake them up. We gotta get them human again. I know it's easier said than done, but I think that, the life of this planet and the life of the entirety of our ecosystem in terms of globally, the survival for the species that is humanity depends upon us waking each other up, waking enough of us up so that something actually really happens and changes. For one thing, geoengineering. Thankfully, and by the way, and this is a progress important part in terms of the concept that people are indeed waking up. Geoengineering is finally being publicized, and people are finally saying, you know what, this doesn't, and coming out more and more with the fact that this is not good. This is ridiculous. I'm seeing less and less denial of it, at least. At the same time, the fact, and that very few people even trying to deny the construct that our ozone layer is almost gone, okay, and that there are parts of this planet that are indeed feeling those effects significantly. Not many people are disputing the concept that, at least in the way that so far it's been done, that nuclear power plants are indeed a danger and a risk. The battle against fossil fuel pipelines, thankfully more and more people are awakening to just how big of a mess that is, and at least one large bank in the United States is divested from the pipelines, and so that's progress. We need to keep pushing. And at the same time, we all need to be aware that there's too much wrong and there's too much at stake to really try to, quote-unquote, play it safe. Now, I know that there are many people out there that they can't do much except kind of, cheer in the back, okay, and say, I know it's all a mess, but I can't really, the only thing I can do right now is, is do what I need to do to survive and for the next day, week, hour, in some cases, month. Many of them, they can't even, people in this country, they can't try to plan for a year. Frankly, I'm one of them. Okay? I mean, I do create multiple scenarios for a year out, and more. But at the same time, there are times, especially with my medical conditions, that I'm lucky if I can get and keep in some way or form to a full-on survival plan for more than about a week in advance. Okay. Again, I always have plans and alternates, but in terms of just being able to stick with it, it's generally between 1 and 3 weeks tops that I have, because everything is medical-wise, what I can get at different stores and all of these other variables in my life, it's difficult. Both my husband and I are disabled and living under below the poverty line in this area. That's enough of a set of challenges. But at the same time, I do keep my eyes open and I do all that I can. One of the functions of this channel is so that I can help and I can tell people what I've seen as the problems, because there are many. Again, a crazy conspiracy theorist. Yes, that's what the term for it is, the new term for awake individual, thinking human being that cares. Fine, call me one. I'm it, if that's what you want, if that's what this new term for it. I'm seeing so many people labeled it for so many different things that are clearly as concrete a set of facts as you can get. One of the most recent ones is the murder of Seth Rich. Yes, I do believe that someone connected with either Bill or Hillary Clinton or another person connected with some part of the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic National Party, was involved with initiating his murder. Okay? Because they knew that he was connecting and releasing the documents on him, on them, and therefore that he would, or was, helping destroy the Democratic, or at least to some extent helping to destroy the Democratic Party, and indeed Hillary Clinton's candidacy. Again, so yeah, if you want to call me a crazy conspiracy theorist over that, if you want to call me, which is to say, a thinking person, go ahead. If you, again, another thing that, it gets at times me and others called, conspiracy theorist, believing that vaccines are not safe. Okay, have serious safety problems. I really do believe that they do indeed pose serious health risks that shouldn't be ignored. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that mercury is not safe in terms of the concept of, and other heavy metals, it's not safe to eat fish for women who of childbearing age because there is those heavy metals in them, contained in their flesh. But say that injecting that into a baby or into a young child's veins, those same substances, is perfectly safe. Sorry, that doesn't make any kind of real sense. It's either these metals, these substances are dangerous, are poison, are toxic, or they're perfectly safe. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that, in the same terms of pipelines, you can't say that fossil fuel pipelines are going to be the job creator that's going to help out, people, get this country reignite employment, that's going to solve the unemployment problems. And then have and put that out there as if it's going to actually create more jobs in the solar or wind or other green energy, or micro hydro, or among other types of water power generation. When in reality, in terms of fossil fuel industry jobs, especially when it comes to if it's for power generation of any kind, or heat generation, per unit of power, it mathematically doesn't even make sense from a standpoint of how power is generated. Again, if you look at the studies, green energy field produces so many more jobs per unit of electricity and per unit of gathering that power that it's ridiculous. So, and it's, again, if you're seeing in the economy, where is the growth of jobs? That's the green energy. If you're talking about energy sector-wise, that's green energy. That's renewable energy sources: wind, microhydro, offshore wind, wave, tidal wave, power generation, microhydro, concentrated photovoltaic cells. These are the ways and places that jobs are being generated. Energy efficiency measures. And this is the way, and this is where jobs are being created. The only place that fossil fuel jobs are long-term, where it's not directly and easily moved from fossil fuel to sustainable energy, in the case of fill-up stations, okay? It's directly, you could just change over from fossil fuel to clean energy in terms of making the same station, so you wouldn't change the job situation there, is when you're talking about the cleanup for when these places break down, when a disaster or after a disaster occurs. That's the only place that massive long-term jobs are created, is when something goes wrong. Those are the facts. It's not a theory, conspiracy or otherwise. There's loads of data pulls to back it up. This is the world that we're living in. This is the world that we've got to work on rebuilding. Shalom.